just saw Nosferatu, the 2024 version, obviously, because that would be really boring to see the original in the theater.
Yeah.
And holy shit, it was amazing.
It was very good.
Oh my god. By the way, Mask of the Slasher, how's it
Yeah.
going?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
How you
Hi,
doing?
hi.
Hey, you doing?
So, yeah, we're not going to give spoilers.
No.
Because I can't recommend this movie enough, and I really don't want to screw it up for anybody else.
Yeah.
But we're just going to go through some stuff, our thoughts and whatever,
Yes.
and go from there.
Yeah.
So last night, Josh and I decided to watch the OG. Unfortunately, it was colorized.
Yeah.
Which,
I just clicked on the first one I found, and
it was on
had
Tubi.
to roll with it.
Yeah, Tubi kind of, There's the black and white version on there, but it's got this really shitty score.
Yeah.
And somebody singing and being
Yeah.
all dumb.
I think I'm gonna try to find a good Blu-ray of it.
Yeah.
Just for historical purposes.
Yeah.
with a non-weird score.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah.
I just want the organ.
Yeah. Well, there is, like I said, there is one out there with Typo Negative doing the music, but it's a little hard to come by now, and I don't know why I never bought it when it was around, but hope to track that down someday. I think it's just a DVD, so.
Fake fan.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, we couldn't go see it on Christmas because, we'd have family and stuff, and we like doing those things.
Yeah.
So we waited till today. We set our alarms so we can get up and watch Nosferatu in the theater at 9:45 a.m.
Yes.
That's an early showing.
That it is.
We did that so also we wouldn't have to be around people.
Yeah.
And thankfully
That worked out very well. There were
was
only two other people in the theater.
Yeah. This movie, it was directed by Robert Eggers, and if you know who that is, great. If not, how about the movie The Lighthouse, The Witch,
Yes.
or The Witch, as it's actually called, or Hansel and Gretel. That's his jam right
Yes.
there. So he's pretty good at atmospheric,
Yeah.
crazy ass movies, and this is no exception.
Yeah, he does not disappoint here.
No.
Not at all.
And like I said, we did watch the original last night, so I did pay attention. I mean, amongst our, what is that, Mystery Science Theater, whatever, commentary that we had to give.
This is the good thing about watching a silent movie, I've discovered, is that you can talk through it all you want.
Yeah, they hold the frames for a long time. Yes. So what I will say about this is that they followed the movie almost to a T, the original.
Yes, but also mixed in some elements of the original Dracula story as well.
Yes.
Now, I should say that, of course, the original Nosferatu 1922 was an unauthorized adaptation of Dracula with names changed to protect the guilty and also some plot elements changed as well. And this kind of, we took a little bit sprinkling of the original Dracula story and mixed it in with the 1922 adaptation as well.
Of course, we were blessed with Willem Dafoe's amazing acting in this. He was the professor.
Yes.
And his lovely wife. Just kidding. Sorry. Anytime somebody says the professor, I have to think of Gilligan's Island. Yeah. And Bill Skarsgård played Count Orlok.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. Because, we all know that he played Pennywise, and he did an amazing job with that. And then he did The Crow, and that dived.
Yeah, I will hate watch that eventually, but it hasn't happened yet.
And when we saw pictures of him as the Crow stuff, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It looked so stupid.
Yeah, I was like, get ready for the Post Malone version of the Crow, y'all.
Yeah. What's up? It was, So I was really hoping this wasn't going to be messed up.
Right.
And you couldn't tell it was him.
Right, yeah.
The makeup on this was phenomenal. And they didn't oversaturate it with his appearance.
Yeah.
We also have Lily Rose Depp. She plays Ellen, who is the main chick in this. She's the one that's essentially possessed by him. Now, I've never read the book. I've said this before. I'm going to go with that still. But why was she... I don't remember the whole thing of her having these experiences younger in any other form of this. Right,
and I don't recall that being in the book. I mean, I haven't read Dracula since high school, and I don't recall that being in the book either. I think that's just something that they added for as a new plot point.
Okay. So, and then you have Nicholas Hoult. He was Thomas Hutter, who is Ellen's husband. Aaron Taylor, who is Frederick Harding. And Emma Corrin as Anna Harding. They are husband and wife. if you don't know, Emma Corrin is, I thought this was crazy. She's the bald chick in Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Right, Cassandra Nova, Professor X's sister.
I was like, bro, you don't recognize her at all.
No,
you know.
It took me a minute. I first, because I remember we talked about her being in it, and then I'm watching the movie, I'm going, where do I recognize that actress from? And then it occurred to me who she was.
Yeah, and I didn't even put two and two together. I knew all of this before we went, but I still didn't put those two together. This movie, like I said, they pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything. I mean, I'm watching all the frames, everything, and I'm like, I remember that. Yeah. Everything that you could think of.
Yeah.
It's basically, because when Nosferatu came out, what shocked people was just seeing Count Orlok. That was it, because holy shit, he was scary looking, and blah, 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 blah. But... you know, obviously that's not going to shock us.
Right.
You know, we've seen 1,000 pictures of him since then.
Yeah.
And obviously we watched the original last night. There was not once I was just, you know, biting my nails or anything, you know. So basically this movie is the nowadays version of it.
Right.
What would actually shock us.
Right.
And boy, did it. They did a fantastic job of it.
It was excellent.
Yeah. I mean, there was actually a couple times I jumped.
Yeah, and I loved how Count Orlok looked in this.
Yes.
I liked that it was kind of a mix of the original Orlok and then also a little bit Vlad the Impaler, kind of with the, you know, things that we, things that will not spoil.
Yeah.
But let's just say his look is a little bit different than the original. And the fact that I always like gross vampires.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they always talk about in these movies how, oh, it's a curse, it's a disease, but then Dracula's all suave and handsome
hot.
and hey, baby, you know. It's like, no, it's a curse. He's diseased, you know. He should look horrific, and he definitely does in this. You know, which I appreciated. Yeah, I'm a gross vampire fan. What can I say?
Well, because they are dead.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be gross.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be pretty and whatever. And I think even, you know, in Bram Stoker's, they did a good job of giving you the variety. Because I would have been really disappointed, though, if Gary Oldman was never hot once. And thank God he was at one point in this movie. But Nosferatu, they just did a fantastic job with this. I can't emphasize that enough. Absolutely recommend seeing this. Go see it in the theater. Yeah, for the love of God and all things holy.
Yeah, some great nods to the original. If you're a fan of the original, you know, some of the costumes are exactly the same. Like Hutter, I for some reason I don't know why I thought about this because it doesn't really look like it, but I just kept thinking his purple pie man outfit for some reason.
What?
His purple pie man outfit.
What is a purple pie man?
You know the purple pie man from Strawberry Shortcake?
No, I don't.
It didn't even really look like it, but that's what popped into my head when we were watching the original. So that outfit was the same. You know, the sets are obviously very much the same. It was filmed in the same locations as you had said, and it's just the nods to the original were fantastic. I thought.
I can't get it out of my head now.
I thought it was really cool.
I thought you were going to talk about his package because in the original, I mean, pants just went up really high.
I was going to say every man in the original had their pants pulled up to their tits, and it was wow.
And all of their junk was either cut in half or off to the side. Yep. I did see a little bit of that in this movie. I was like, well, thank God they got the pants right again, you know. But yeah, I mean, even some of the opening shots, all of it, it was like, I remember exactly this shot. So if you haven't seen the original Nosferatu, like I said, it's on Tubi, which means it's free.
Yeah.
Go watch it before you see this, because I think you'll have more of an appreciation, like I did, because I had never watched the original, because holy cow, it took me everything I had to stay awake last night to watch this thing. But I did appreciate it, and because it was so fresh in my mind, then I was able to see how cool it was when they adapted it to this.
Right.
So I definitely recommend this. Also, I thought this was interesting, and I never even put this together until recently, but the movie Shadow of the Vampire, if you haven't seen that, also very much recommended. It's supposedly the story of how they made the movie, but of course it's, you know. It's glamorized.
and there's a horror element to it that I won't spoil in case you haven't seen it, but I will say that Willem Dafoe is also in that movie and does a fantastic job in that as well.
Yeah, he's actually Count Orlok.
Yeah, he plays Max Shrek,
Yeah. Oh, well, that's different. Well, he plays...
he plays Max Shrek, who plays Count Orlok in the movie. Yeah. Sorry, I should have said a little
thank you.
More. Yeah.
Nobody's like, oh, Max Shrek. Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Isn't he green? So, anyway, go see it.
Yeah.
Go see it 1,000 times.
Yes, absolutely.
I know this sounds funny, and it's because we're old, but usually we will judge a movie on whether or not we're going to purchase it as to how good it was.
Right, absolutely.
This is a movie I was like, I'm going to purchase this.
Yeah.
I am absolutely going to purchase it. I cannot wait to see the behind the scenes
oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
all that stuff.
There's some amazing special features because it's definitely
worth
one that I would like to see how they,
yeah.
did everything. Because, yeah, wow, it's just a fantastic, just a well-made, well-crafted movie. A lot of love, a lot of heart. A lot of thought went into it, and you can just tell.
Yeah.
Well,
and they did the atmosphere itself. Like I said, the director already does a really good job at atmospheric movies.
Yeah.
Because The Witch, you feel that cold, you just feel the dirt and everything about it. And you feel that way with this too. There's nothing perfect about anything. With Bram Stoker's, it was, perfect and pretty and romantic.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
No, not at all.
And I think that's kind of funny, that we've gotten to that point with movies where we've accepted imperfections.
Yeah.
I would like to thank newer Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are like, oh, these, the ships and all this, whatever shit, didn't have to be perfect.
Well, yeah, that's one thing I've always liked about Star Wars from day one is that universe to me looks lived in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like your parents' basement.
Yeah.
It's lived in. Whereas, like, Star Trek, everything is so pristine, and it's like this idealized version of the future. Whereas Star Wars is just like it's gritty, it's gnarly,
Exactly.
and that's what this movie is. I would call this movie gritty gothic.
Yeah, there you go. There's a new subgenre right there. Is gritty gothic. But yeah, I mean, even the town that he stops in before for the one night. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
You did not want to be there.
No,
It's oh my goodness. But even that follows the original, which I thought was great. And even lines in it, because when you watch the silent movie, of course there's the cards in between where it's, their narration or whatever. And those lines are read in the movie, which I think is cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I mean, the mention of a cock at least 3 times in there. I had to chuckle to myself. He said, oh, he kept saying cock. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, go check it out.
Yes.
I don't think that you will dislike it. I don't know a horror fan who would really not like this movie.
Yeah.
You've got gore, atmosphere, amazing cast. He's been trying to get this movie made since 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's just had a lot of ups and downs trying to get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it finally came out, and I'm glad it came out when it did. There's the discussion of the plague, which is very relevant right now.
Right.
It probably wouldn't have been relevant in 2015 or 16 as much.
Right.
But nowadays, we know what the plague is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, go check it out.
Yeah.
If you've already seen it, though, if you were cool enough to be able to go see it within the first 2 days of it being out, what did you think of it?
Yeah, let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And have you ever seen the original Nosferatu? Because if you have, I would love to know your opinion on that, because we found it very comical, of course. But we also appreciate where it came from.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly it had to have been terrifying, back then. And just some of the, even still to this day, some of the imagery in that movie, I think it holds up.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that all these years later. Yeah, sure, we laughed at a lot of things, but there were certain scenes that I was just like, wow, that still looks great.
It does, yeah. Well, and I was thinking about it because my grandma was born in 1915, and that movie came out in 1922, so she would have been around 7-ish. Yeah. And so I would have loved to have known if she had seen it. Obviously, can't ask her now.
Right.
But that would have been an interesting thing to find out, if she had in fact seen that movie, because that would have been pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I think that's it for this one.
Yes.
We've got one more episode coming up. This was a special one.
Yeah, of course.
Just for you. But yeah, we've got one more regular episode coming up after this. And so we'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Bye.